As part of our Young South Africans with a Different series, I'm joined by Tebogo Ditshego, who's the CEO of Ditshego Media. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So you've recently made it to the top 30s Forbes list of young entrepreneurs in Africa. I mean, what does this mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to me because if you look at our continent, we are in need of a lot of innovative entrepreneurs. And we need not only innovative entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs who make it in the industry, in the relevant industries, and are recognized. Because this provides, young people with inspiration to start their own businesses. I mean, there was a report that was recently released that indicated that only 15% of young South Africans plan to open their own business, which is a problem because we're sitting with a 24.1% unemployment rate. And I mean, we're sitting with 56% of South Africans by the age of 22 are not in an educational institution and they're not employed. Neither are they starting their own businesses. So this is the kind of culture that we need to inculcate within young South Africans to say, go out there, start your own business. And there's a possibility that it'll flourish and be internationally recognized.
But there are the challenges, of course, of startup capital. I mean, how would you advise someone who wants to start their own business, but they don't really know where to start? They don't have the money to start their own business.
If you're going to learn from my example, I used education as a foundation for my progress in life. So when I was in high school, there was a teacher by the name of Mrs. Steele who told me that I am a good public speaker and I should enter speech competitions. And I was also good at creative writing. So I felt that public relations, complements those characteristics the best. So I studied public relations, and then while I was studying, I became a columnist for various newspapers.
So how did you generate your startup capital? Let's just get to that.
Well, no, it wasn't about startup capital for me, because public relations is a service-orientated field. So you don't necessarily need to be capital intensive. So, I mean, and again, I used a lot of variable costs. There's a misconception that you need a lot of capital to start any business. And there's a difference between fixed and variable costs. Variable costs includes hiring freelancers to assist you with, services that you won't be able to afford on a permanent basis. But fixed costs is where you have a permanent responsibility. And you don't necessarily always have to use fixed costs as a basis for starting your capital and planning your business moving forward.
Let's speak about the fact that you made it to the semi-finals of Barack Obama's Young African Fellowship. I mean, what does this entail?
Well, the Young African Leaders Initiative, which is the Washington Fellowship, is it's a project which seeks to identify young potential African leaders and then provide them with mentorship and also access to markets in order for them to be able to, spread their wings. And I think it's a great opportunity for many of us. We're going to be traveling to Washington. Well, I'm in the semifinals, so they still need to choose me for the final, so I might be jumping the gun. But those who make it are going to be traveling to Washington for 2 months. Others will get internship opportunities. And then there's going to be skills sharing and also a lot of networking amongst young African leaders who are going to also meet with American leaders. But the trick is that we need to plow back when we come from America. So we need to start mentoring young African leaders. So it's about polishing our skills and then coming back to Africa to continue on our journey.
Wow, congratulations on that, and I totally hope that you make it, because you are making a mark for our country. And what advice would you give to young people that are just challenged at the moment? They don't know what to do. They're just in and out of school and in and out of business, and they're just struggling.
Well, I've learned from a variety of people in history, from your Steve Bikos to your Nelson Mandelas. But in terms of business, I've learned a lot from Warren Buffett. And I read his book called The Snowball, which was written by Alice Schroeder. And there was a point where Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were sitting at a dinner table. And Warren Buffett's father asked them, so what is your secret to success? And Warren Buffett said it's focus. And Bill Gates agreed that, yes, it's focus. So I would say that young people should be focused. Firstly, find out what it is you want to achieve. And find out how are you going to achieve what you want to achieve. And remain focused and steadfast. Because if you're going to allow yourself to be, stopped or, distracted by challenges that come through, you're going to have a big problem in becoming successful in business. So it's all about understanding that there's a lot of sacrifice, there are a lot of challenges that you're going to come across, but it's always about just continuing moving forward and allowing your long-term goals to motivate you to deal with your short-term challenges.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.